I miss the Ice Pinnacle Mountains. My tribe. Life down south is so messy. But they do seem to find use of my talents. Skulls need cracking here too, apparently. The witch. She has to deliver on her promise. I have to deliver the secret of steel to my people. It will help us to be strong. Allow more of the younglings to survive the threats of the wild. This Isella, she wants people dead. I can empathize, and I can provide the killing. She just needs to keep her word and provide the payment, and all will be well. We will continue our journey, and the witch, wise woman, will lead me to where I need to go. Something about this smells wrong, though. Very, very wrong. This is Red Moon Role-Playing.
The luminous woods are not the largest of all woods, but they are still impressive enough, and they certainly have their own beauty. But we are not focusing on that now, of course. Right now, our free adventurers, or travellers if you will, are focused on a small path heading through the woods where they have just about managed to catch up and overtake these bandits who seem to be after Isella. You have managed to position yourselves, noticing them before they've noticed you. But they are on a little open road, and ambushing them will still require a little bit of luck. The question is that what you do? Isella is looking at you, keen, it seems, to, when possible, jump out and attack, but she is waiting, looking at the two of you, making sure that she doesn't do the wrong thing. So tell me, what do the two of you do? You can try and jump out and ambush these two folk, or you can do something else. Ylwa, with your successful roll, and where you are positioned, you notice one of the individuals is a man, you think. They're wearing a bit of a hood. They have a bow, and they are looking around them very carefully, especially looking at the ground and the woods. Probably someone with similar skills to you, you think. The other is not a human at all. They are a shorter being, covered in orange-like fur. Humanoid enough, but a little animal-like in the face. This, you know, Irinja, is a goblin. You know goblins well. There are many in the Bornland. Some even live in its capital city and actually work there peacefully. Not everyone is a fan of this, but Bornlanders accept them better than some other people do. The goblin carries a battle axe and is sort of staying close to the taller human, looking around but not nearly as well. These are the two individuals making their way on this path. What do you two do?
I get ready to ambush them, basically. Perhaps we take one out and we can capture the other one and get the information that we need about their camp and what awaits us. Well, or we just kill them both. It depends on how I end up feeling when battle is joined.
Ylwa is the real warrior here. If these two are capable enough, maybe they can handle them without my help.
So perhaps we can say that you take a little step back, keeping behind a tree. Isella nods at you, Ylwa. She makes a hand gesture, perhaps implying that she's going to go for one and you go for the other. Which one would you want to go for?
The biggest one.
Very well then, you are going to try and move forward and ambush these individuals. But of course, you will need to make a stealth check against this individual's perception.
2 on the first roll, which is good. The second one, unfortunately, is 20 on intuition of 13. And I end up losing all of my skill points trying to compensate for that, so the roll is failed on intuition.
Unfortunate. Izella does begin to move round, but as you go, taking your moment, you hear a twig snap under your foot. You frown and see in front of you the man with the bow sort of go, huh, and draw his bow up, and he sees you, points the bow at you. Halt! Stop! What do you do?
I charge him. Yes.
And so, battle begins. Please, everyone, roll an initiative check. This is where you roll a d6 and add your initiative modifier.
16 for me.
So I have 17.
And so we begin. The turn order being Ylwa, then Irinja, and the bandits. And then sadly Izella last, for she does seem a little taken back when suddenly you were noticed, Ylwa. It is your go, Ylwa. In this game, the Dark Eye, combat is similar to some games we played before. You get one action, one free action, and normally one defense. Although, as a character with fate points, being a special character, as it were, a player character, you can make multiple defenses, but there is a penalty after the first one. So, what is your first action?
Well, let's see if we can do a charge then.
Excellent. Explain what charge does.
So, we have a running distance of at least 4 yards and a move of at least 4. I believe, qualify for that. I have 8 in move.
Mm-hmm.
This movement is considered part of the action you use to attack. The defender can make a normal defense. If your charge is successful, add a bonus of 2 plus half your move stat. So that's 2 plus 4, so 6 to the attack's damage. And there's a penalty. It says here penalty -2.
There certainly is. However, I'm going to remove the penalty on the grounds that while you did fail to be perfectly stealthy, you have still suddenly charged out of the bushes. It's still quite alarming, especially for someone with a bow. So, remove the -2, and instead simply roll your attack roll. Trying to roll under your attack rating with your weapon.
Alright. I roll 13 under 14.
Ooh, very close, but you do successfully jump out of the bushes, rush straight at this bowman with your battle axe. That is what you're using, yes?
Yes, my barbarian war axe.
Wonderful. You hit! Roll your damage, please.
And that will then be 2d6 plus 12. That is 19 damage.
So, you charge out from the undergrowth with your two-handed battle axe ready, charging at this individual. He is caught off guard, even though not surprised. He still doesn't have much time to react, considering he was stringing a bow, and before he could even attempt to fire, you've charged directly into point-blank range and swung your axe into his side. 19 damage. And he cries out in pain as you dig your thing straight into his side. He is looking very alarmed. He's still standing, but that was a very good blow. He is currently suffering 2 levels of pain, meaning most of his rolls and his movement are now -2. His companion looks at him in alarm. Now, Irinja, it is your go. What do you do? One individual has a battle axe lodged into his side and looks in a very bad condition. The other one, the goblin, is looking alarmed. He's got his weapon ready. Izella is coming from the side. But what do? You're a bit further away than everyone else.
Yes, well, I didn't engage in the first stealth attack as they were moving up, so I had a little bit ground to cover. So maybe I should just run after, gracefully, drawing my dagger and trying to follow up on the attack by Ylwa.
You can, if you want to avoid the goblin, you'll have to come from the left-hand side of her. Otherwise, you'll be in front of a goblin with a battle axe. But if you want to come from the left, you can try and back her up. Your movement is what again?
8.
You also can just catch up, sort of but coming around from the left, and you're going to try and attack this individual with your dagger, are you?
Yes, let's do that.
Very roll then. In that case, for you, it's just a simple roll under your attack.
So is that under my... Oh, yes. So it says, yeah, daggers 10, then it says attack 12, parry 6, is that right?
Yes, so under 12.
Under 12. 7.
You hit, roll damage! If you're wondering, he doesn't get another defensive action, for he is not a special character, and normally you only get 1 defensive action a round.
I roll a 1, so that's 2 damage.
And you come round the side, and will you tell me what do you do that doesn't really do much damage? It does damage, but not much. What do you do?
I slash at his arm where he's holding the bow, and it cuts a wound, which is probably painful, but not immediately lethal.
And so, this man looks at the pair of you, and does his best to try and disengage. You can see fear in his eyes. You know this fear, Ylwa. This is the fear a man has when his life is about to end, and he is bleeding very heavily. He does not wish to fight you anymore, so he will attempt to disengage. So in order to disengage, this foe must make a body control check at a difficulty of -2, because there are 2 of you attacking him. He does not succeed at this check, meaning even though he tries to get away from you, you just quickly bring up your weapon, stopping him doing so. So, Ylwa, please make a free attack of opportunity on this foe as you get in his way, stopping him escaping.
But look at that, that's a 19. And I have an attack of 14, so that's a swing and a miss.
You block his path, but you don't quite get the blow in, but he is still there. He looks at you like, who in the gods' names are you? Meanwhile, the little goblin looks to his friend, looks at you, Ylwa, and snarls, "Leave my friend alone!" He is going to attack you with his battle axe. And he hits with his battle axe. Do you dodge or do you parry?
Well, my axe is not terribly good at parrying, so let's see here. Now, dodge is dough, right?
Yes, dodge.
Dough, yes. Parry is 4, dough is 8, so hey, here we go then with the dough. So I need to roll under 8, right?
Yes.
7.
He swings his battle axe at your side, and you just turn from blocking his friend, look at this goblin, and just duck swiftly to the left. He blinks, looking at you, surprised, angry, and fearful, as Isella then comes from behind him and makes her attack on this goblin. She comes from behind, meaning she gets a +2 to her attack, as he is not paying attention to her at this moment in time. So, as this goblin swings his battle axe at you and you duck, you see it, Ylwa, but he does not. Isella just emerging from the bushes herself, wielding her short sword and wooden shield that she also managed to get from the innkeeper. She scores a critical hit, which is a 1 on the d20, meaning she does double damage, and his defense stat is halved for this attack. So she does 7 times 2, and he will attempt to dodge, but it's going to be half the normal result for him, which means his dodge is free. He did not dodge. 17 damage. And he goes down onto his knees, turns round, and he is panicking. Ylwa, it is your turn again. You have one individual in front of you trying to run, bleeding heavily, and the other one also has just taken a massive blow to the head. Still up, but this fight is almost over. What do you do?
Well, I'll go for the one still standing then, trying to take down him as well.
Roll your attack.
10 underneath 14.
That's a hit. Does he dodge? He does not. Roll your damage.
That is 9 damage.
How do you kill this man?
Well, I suppose I go with the battle axe from the side yet again, and I go as deep as I can, and really try to get through the ribs and through the lungs and into the heart, felling him like that.
And he goes down, blood pouring from his mouth as your battle axe hits him hard in the chest, and he falls. Ylwa, your turn then is over.
Yes.
and it is your turn. Irinja, you see the goblin look to you, look to his friend falling, and he yells out in his language, goblinish, which you actually understand. Yildwin, no!
I throw my dagger to the side, and I say, "Speak quickly, goblin, and you shall be healed, along with all the pleasures that entails." I'm going to try to seduce him in this combat situation, speaking his own language.
Indeed, I would like you to make a roll of seduction then, if you're trying to flirt with him. There will be no bonuses, because unfortunately, as a goblin, he does not find you initially that attractive, like humans would. But he still can be seduced in a way, or at least in this case, he can be convinced that surrendering and not dying is a good idea. So none of your benefits from good looks, but otherwise make a normal roll, yes please.
So would you rather that I use fast talk than seduction?
Up to you. You probably think that might be a little better.
So I try to use fast talking.
Yes,
to,
actually that's better, because fast talk is the skill of quickly saying things to quickly get someone to do something.
It's also an obvious bluff from my side that I probably won't do it, so fast talking it is. +1, so let me see then. Fast talk, that's courage, intuition, charisma. 4 under 15. And then I roll a 17 against my intuition, would be normally 14, but you said a +1, so 15.
Yes.
I'll have to use 2 of my skill points there. I have 2 left, so let's see if I can succeed at a charisma roll. Under 16. 5, I do, so I have 2 left, leaving it at a quality level 1.
He looks at you, looks at Ylwa, sees Azella coming from behind, and just says, I surrender! In goblinish.
A wise choice. Now, our friend here has undue business with your group, and I turn to Azella.
Azella takes her sword and holds it to the tip of the goblin's neck. But she then looks at you. What are you saying to it? What's it saying?
It surrenders. It's ready to impart us information that will help us.
I don't see what this goblin would know that we don't know already. Alright, question it quickly.
What do you know of the location, perhaps? How can we get at them?
Just innocent goblin walking down road, and you attack me, my friend!
Do you wish to die that badly? My friend here has undue business with you and your group. We know about you. We know about your leader. We know about what you took.
What did we take? Take nothing but a few trinkets, treasures. What you want to know?
I want to know how we can move up on the rest of them without gaining their attention.
You won't. They're good watch people. They will see you coming. Darian is clever, good leader. He will notice you, and he will kill you all.
You are saying that you are of no use to us?
You see, Azella, again, as this conversation is going on in Goblinish, just getting irritated and saying, like, are we done?
Are we done, Goblin?
You see him looking around. He's definitely trying to see any way he can to sort of get out of this and escape. Ylwa, you don't understand what's being said either. How are you feeling?
I'm looking forward to this goblin defying my friends, and perhaps that would give me an excuse to bash him in as well, and bury my axe in him too. That would be fun, actually. However this plays out, it's going to be fun. I'm just smiling, and I've got blood splattered all over me from the man I just killed.
I'm very useful to you, he says in Goblinish to Irinja. But I cannot give you any good information. You are going to fail. By now, they will all have already got away with the treasure, and we will be fine. And if you like, you can roll me again an intuition check Irinja.
That is a 9 under 14.
You think he's wasting time?
He's stalling for time. Die, goblin, I say. And I just turn my back on him.
And I take that as permission, and I kill the goblin right there and then, if I can.
And you do. You cleave into him, and he falls to the ground, already injured. Isella nods. Good work. Excellent. 2 less of them, and moves on. But Irinja, you know more than some. Isella, of course, is treating the goblin like he wasn't a person, like he was an animal, a beast. But goblins are not beasts. They are sentient beings, capable of good and evil. How do you feel about this one simply being executed in such a way?
No different than the man, really. I have had good exchanges with goblins as I have had with men. It makes no difference one or the other. It is their choices led them here. I hold no qualms about killing bandits.
Indeed. And he was a bandit. Although, surprisingly loyal, you think to yourself. He surrendered. He could have told you everything. He didn't, though.
Despite the odds, yeah. Very loyal. This leader must be very charismatic.
The thought certainly crosses your mind. Either way, 2 bandits have been slain. Isella takes a moment to catch her breath. Good. Well, I won't lie, that could have gone a little better. Ylwa, you were a little clumsy on your feet, but good with the axe. Very good with that axe.
I pick up the dagger and I go and I dry it off against a tree, looking around to see if Katsinka is nearby.
Your cat eventually comes out, sort of sniffing the corpses, then keeping away from them.
I kneel down to pat her and I see if I gain any information from what she has seen around the area.
She was interested in a bug. Keeping safe, as you said. She sniffs. She doesn't like dead bodies.
No other shapes, bigger shapes moving around?
No. It's about midday now. Good light. Ylwa, how are you feeling? Battle was joined. Not a scratch on yourself. They went down very easily, in your opinion.
I am pleased, and I get down and I pray to Frunu, and yes, I celebrate this victory, and, well, the victories that are to come. This is a glorious day so far. It can only get better.
And of the goblin, you too would think, very concerned about his fellow bandits. The goblin? Interesting. You don't probably have much opinion on goblins. There's not that many in the far, far north, but you know there's lots in the borderland. They're not as bad as orcs, you think, maybe.
It is much more fun to fight a disciplined enemy that care about each other. Battle becomes so much more exciting that way. I am very pleased by this development.
Isella looks to you both. Right. All right then. Shall we continue? Hopefully, if we head this way, she says, pointing to the foliage in the woods, we should be able to come across the cloister. In fact, you can probably already see if you come this way. She motions for you to follow, and 5 minutes passed, and you do see, poking out from what looks like the rest of the forest, you think you could just see a bit of a tower in the distance. She says, the cloister. A very tall tower. You can see it from here, but the rest of the cloister is on a bit of a hill. It will come up from the main woods, you see.
Yes, that must be it. Can I make something out of this cloister? Does it look, do I see any... Is it just a building in the distance right now, or does it look old, worn down, or...
Hard to tell from here. You think you're going to have to make a bit more distance. This is still, you feel, at least an hour away. However, for a tower to be that tall, it must be at least, if it's on a hill, 4 stories high.
So what exactly do you hope to gain from this, besides rooting out this whole gang of bandits.
Isella looks at you a little distracted then. What do you mean? They kidnapped me. I'm getting vengeance, and then also enacting justice for the barony. What else is there to it?
Is there anything in particular that they stole that you want back?
Well, I'm sure they've stolen things from travellers and merchants. They didn't steal anything from me particular, other than, well, actually, she blushes a little. Well, actually, yes, they did steal my horse. That is a point. I'd forgotten about her. Yes, they had my horse.
A horse? Valuable prize? Well, anything else that you recognize at this point, now that we're getting closer?
Again, we'll know more when we get closer. Come, let's proceed.
I nod. Yes.
And you begin moving forwards. Eventually, after another hour, getting closer through the woods, encountering no more individuals, the day drawing on, you come upon the cloister. From where you are in the woods, again, you can see this area goes up on a hill. Not too tall a hill. The path, the old traveller's path, eventually goes towards this little hill and goes upwards. The cloister itself appears old, abandoned, and ruined. The central tower that you could see from far away is the tallest structure, 4 stories high. This sits on the left of the structure. The old path goes straight in front of it, and then you think must snake around. From where you're standing, you then see the hill. It looks like there's areas which could be climbed, but again, climbing would be required as it is steep. There is shrubbery, there is trees, and you think you could also see wall, as if the cloister was originally enclosed. Is anyone familiar with architecture or buildings? Anything like that? We could also say history.
And with religions, I don't know if that applies.
Would you like to make a religion check?
Why not? See if I can garner anything on how these structures are usually built.
Sadly, this will be at a penalty of -1, because you're looking at it from far away, and it is a ruin. So, not the best view of the place, but you might grab something.
Sounds fair. Let's see then. Well, the first roll then is under my sagacity, which is actually not very high. So it would go from 10 to 9, but who knows? 7. And the second roll is also for sagacity, and that's 8. And the last roll is for intuition, which is 14, now lowered to 13. I roll 16 with my skill of religions 3. However, I will be able to lower that 16 to 13, just barely passing that check.
It is a pass, but only just. Meaning, well, okay, a cloister. Griffonsford, the Midden Realm, okay. I mean, you know, historically, the gods Preos and Perrin are very worshipped in these lands, especially here. All 12, of course, are worshipped, but Preos especially in the northern regions. He is, after all, the leader of all the 12, and they take great faith in his light and his justice, especially during the wars, the Orc Storms, as they were called. And, of course, the invasions of the Demon Master, Borabad. So, it must be dedicated to one of those gods, right? It looks like a chapel. Now, generally, chapels have the tall part, then they have the chapel parts next to them, then maybe, if it's out here, maybe people lived here. Makes sense. But you're not getting much more than that, really.
I'm only admiring it from the distance, and sudden memories flashing back of places I've been and books I've studied about different religions. Nothing useful at this point, but it is an interesting reflection.
Isella looks to you. Right. Okay, so you see the southern wall. So the cloister has been abandoned for a very, very long time. Most of it is in disrepair, but when I was brought in by the bandits, I believe they had... I think they'll mainly be in that tower and the areas surrounding it. Now, if you follow the main road, you'll come to a natural entrance. They will definitely have someone watching that. Possibly someone at the keep as well. As you can see, it gives you a great view, so they will definitely have someone with eyes there. But I escaped. She points. Do you see where you can climb? I fell down there, mostly. I got through a little hole in the southern wall. That's where I was being held, and that was where I was able to escape at dawn. So that might be a good approach, but what do you think?
I cock my head. Sounds as well as anything, unless you want me to go in and have a reconnaissance under a more harmless shape.
But Isella looks very confused. What do you mean?
I have a talent, you see, of assuming shapes that are inconspicuous to the area. I could, of course, assume such a shape and go in closer and see if there's anything else to be gained. But you seem to be, quite a bit about the place already, so I don't know if that much information can be gleaned from such an endeavor.
It's a good idea, but I'm afraid even a harmless shape would draw attention. These are bloodthirsty bandits. You saw on the road how they are. You'd be shot immediately. I wouldn't recommend that.
I nod, then I look at Ylwa. I nod, and I look at Ylwa.
Well, whatever you suggest is good. I just want to fight. That's really it.
Isella sort of smiles at you and goes, "It is good that you are so keen to serve justice. It is admirable."
Yes, I look over Ylwa. She seems to have dried a bit now, though there are now stains of blood furnishing her leather.
Furs and leather, yes, very typical barbarian look, really. And yes, I am positively gleaming. I seem very happy and pleased with what's going on here. This is battle. It's not as if we've been fighting that much during our journey. Finally, I get to do what I love to do.
Yes, I see that you have left the sprays of blood across your face and smeared at one spot where you scratched your nose, and of course over the bits of fur as well.
Isella nods. Very well then. So the southern area, we should be able to climb. It's not easy, but I think the two of you, it won't be a problem. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Very good. You lead the way. Again, when you're up, be careful. You'll need to be stealthy, otherwise you'll be seen. But if you head to that, she points, that little hole in the wall there, that will lead you into the main building. And then, well, hopefully from there we can maybe catch someone off guard. I don't know.
That sounds good. Well, climbing it is, I say, and I begin moving.
And you begin approaching the area. You are quick, you are careful. At this point, no one would see you anyway. So, please, as you try scaling up this hill with the natural shrubs and natural footholds, make a climbing check.
Indeed. And it begins poorly with a courage check. 19 versus 14. I have to use 5 of my skill points there. Next up is agility. That is a 2, so that is fine. And then on my final roll, which is against strength, I roll 18 versus 15 and have to use 3 points there, which then means that I have used all 8 of my points. I have succeeded, but with a quality level of 1.
Indeed. You begin climbing. It's not difficult, but it's not easy. You have to be careful. You, at one point, struggle to find somewhere to put your foot, but you make your way up, slowly, not quickly, and when you finally get up, you scramble a bit, and luckily are near some shrubs, but that wasn't the quickest ascent. What do you do, Ylwa? Do you motion for them to follow? Do you do something else? Same as well. What does everyone do?
I motion for them to follow. We need to move quickly now.
How high is this? How many yards would you say?
It's about 40 yards.
High up the hill. Right. Yes, well, I, after having admired Ylwa's agile climbing, even though, I mean, surely she could have done better. Maybe she's nervous that I'm looking up under her clothes. I, start climbing up myself.
Very roll. Again, please roll. There is a bonus of 2, by the way. Now that you've seen someone else climb, and it's not a difficult climb.
I feel my fingernails itching, longing to dig into this surface with the skill that I have. But it won't make much difference. It'll just make my fingers unwieldy. So, let's do a normal climb. Start with courage then. And I have 14 plus 2, did you say? So that's 5 under 16. And then agility 15, I get 3. And finally 3 under strength 9. Plus 2 is 11.
Excellent. So again, what's your final quality level?
Right, there's that. I have 5 in climbing, so that goes straight to the quality level.
So you actually climb far easier. It does help that you watched Ylwa do it, and she's identified some of the good holds. Also, you are very agile and carry a lot less. Well, other than, of course, your trunk containing your lab equipment that you like to bring around. Although maybe you put an enchantment on that to make it a little lighter than it should be.
Yes, and of course there is my staff, which is somewhat unwieldy, having with me at this point, but I somehow heft it onto my belt on my back, thinking I could move this easy with my mind's telekinetic powers, but with my arrogance sprouting, I feel I shouldn't even need that.
And so, you get up. Isella follows finally last, and she's struggling a little, but she is making her way up, though she will still be a few more minutes, you think. Ylwa, you are up. Irinja is next to you. You're waiting a little on Isella, but right now you're behind a bush, and now you have a much better view of this place. Not only can you see the hole in the wall that she mentioned, but there is also a gaping hole just in the wall right in front of you, which shows you the innards of this cloister. You can now clearly see the courtyard. Looks like it's about, from where you are, 30 yards across and maybe 60 yards east to west. It's largely outside. You can see a lot of ruined buildings. You can see what you think looks like the other entrance, where there is a little gatehouse. Again, abandoned. Roll me a perception check.
And we begin by rolling against sagacity. That's a pass. 5 under 9. Then we roll 8 underneath intuition of 13. And finally 2 underneath intuition of 13. So that means that all 7 points remain, which gives me a quality level of 3.
So, you duck down and begin to observe the place as you're waiting, and again, it does take Isella another 4 or 5 minutes to get up, and even though Irinja climbed quickly, this all is still taking time. Right, where are people? Movement. The gatehouse. There is someone, yes, a figure, maybe must have a good view of the road, which you've not come by. They could also have a good view of where you are right now, if they were looking in your direction. Which they may very well do any moment now, but they have not done it yet. You imagine they probably have some way of calling on the alarm, possibly a ranged weapon. You also think at one point you see 2 people moving in front of you. You duck a little, then they're gone. One of them was a man, 40, 50 years old, plate armor, shield, sword. Looked like a commander. He was being followed by a young woman. She was wearing leathers. They were there and now they're gone. Must be heading to the main buildings. You think you have a good layout of this area now. An entranceway, guarded, but if you go in from the south way, probably you can get in at least.
Then the south way it is.
Very well. Azella gets up, nods to you, and you begin trying to make your way to this area. But, of course, once again, it will be Irinja who rolls that stealth check. I imagine, Irinja, that you would be trying to use cover as best you can, the shrubs, the trees.
Yes, I'm quite good at stealth.
Indeed, that you're going to get a +3 bonus to this roll. However, the individual potentially seeing you gets a bit of a bonus as well, because he is in a good vantage point. So, roll your stealth check at +3, and I shall roll my perception check.
Brings my courage to 17, so I roll 6 under 17. I roll, let's see, I roll a 19, and that would be against my intuition, which is 14, bumped up to 17, so I'll have to use 2 skill points there. And then agility is bumped up from 13 to 16. And I roll a 20, I'm afraid. So that's... let's see, agility... 16. No, it's 2 skill points away from being able to do a success. So it's my agility that fails me. I probably slip or something. Was able to time intuition and them looking away perfectly. But something happens.
You're making your way to this hole, the hole that leads into the main area. Ylwa, you've gone first, you're nearly there. But it is sadly, in your case, Irinja, when you just don't time getting between 2 bushes quick enough. And suddenly all 3 of you hear, "What? What? Darian! Darian, there's movement by the southern wall!" Ylwa, you've been spotted. This is not good. You duck quickly to the hole which leads into this building, looking around. Looks like some ruined chapel of some kind. You look up, the roof has been reinforced recently. Interesting. And in fact, you look to your left and immediately notice that there are horses in here. A grand total of 3. 2 mules and a very lovely looking horse. That must be Azella's. What do you do?
Let's see if we can't at least get the horses with us and try to get out of here. I'm not sure if we really want to fight all of them directly. There seems to be quite a few of them.
Well, you've seen 3. She said there might be 5, 6 total, and you've killed 2. Is there really that many?
No, in that case, just motion towards the others to get ready for a fight.
Azella, you see, just sprint for the opening, trying to get as close to you, Ylwa, as she can. Irinja, what do? You were the one who was seen. You freeze for a moment. If there's a crossbow bolt coming towards you, you need to act quickly.
Well, I shall try to get myself into safety, or at least behind a wall. If I follow my companions, maybe I can dodge in behind something there.
In that case, can you please make me a straight dexterity check as we find out, will you be quick enough to scramble to the others and get into cover, or will you be at risk at getting shot by the individual aiming a crossbow at you right now?
Let's do it. Dexterity.
Roll to -1, as this is dangerous now.
I roll a 6 under dexterity, modified to 11.
You run and dive, and you just hear behind you, whoosh, a crossbow bolt, right where you were. Very close, Irinja. But luckily, you've managed to join the others, and you are now at this hole leading inside, looking into what looks like, the horses? They must have been keeping horses here. It's like a stable of some kind. Maybe not originally, but now it is. However, you do hear shouts going around now. Multiple voices are aware that you are coming. What do you do?
I look around. Is there any person right here, or can we get into a good spot for starting to fight?
So, looking immediately in front of you, this sort of structure looks like it's been repurposed as a stable, but rigidly, this must have been the southern chapel. And you think you can see the keep sort of in front of you. Again, you can't see an entrance, which must mean the entrance is somewhere else. Or maybe, you suppose, originally, if you came in from the other way, the entrance to the keep itself is probably some stairs leading up to a keep. It's probably secured on the bottom level. You can see some ruins ahead of you. No one's here at the moment. You can hear voices and activity, but you can't see anyone, not yet. Isella sort of ducks and is like, damn it, this isn't good. He's probably going to go to the keep. The keep, they can defend themselves there.
Is there any way in to the keep that otherwise than straight there?
No, not now. Now they know we're here. Obviously, it's defensible, isn't it?
That's inconvenient.
It is. I don't know. What should we do? Maybe... can we get...
How do we get into the keep? Do we need to... Is it just a gate, or a what?
So she kind of tries to point. Well, if you go through there, that's where I was held, you see, in that area. They've reinforced it a little bit, but there's still plenty of holes. If you get out of there and go into what must have been once the old servant sort of living quarters, that would be where you'd originally have gone to then go up the stairs into the keep. But at this point, he's probably going to be ready for us. And again, you hear some more shouting, and people are definitely moving. You imagine to yourself, Ylwa, that now enough time has passed for if that guy in the keep tower was moving and running, he could probably have got back down and is probably now running towards this area. He might be on the ground at this point.
That's exciting. Well, just try to get out and fight. I'm tired of being in this place, just waiting to do something. I want to go and bash some heads in.
Yes, I'm not a battle strategist. I look to the two others.
Indeed. Well, then, Ylwa, are you saying you just charge forwards? That would be the first thing to do.
Yes, that is what I do.
You begin moving forwards, moving through the stable. The horses start neighing, lots of noise. They're very panicked by you being there. You move through them. You move into this other area, looking around. Again, you now see straight out into the courtyard. Ah, there's a man. You see him. He's looks at you, has his weapon ready, and he just darts towards the left, making to run towards the central building. Irinja, you follow?
Yes, I do. I now have my staff in my hand.
And Isella follows along with you, all three of you, charging towards that courtyard, hopefully ready for battle. But, unfortunately, an alerted fort is always more tricky than a fort entered by stealth. The day draws ever on in this part of the luminous woods, an old abandoned cloister likely dedicated to the god Preos, once a place of acolytes, maybe even a safe haven in these woods, now long left to ruin, most likely having been attacked by orcs, other bandits, used as a camp several times over, and the natural elements themselves weathering down this once impressive structure. Battle has come here today. Our three heroes, charging through the main parts of this building, are quickly moving out into the courtyard. They see in front of them the individual who was spying on them from the gatehouse. They see now much closer that this was not a human man, but a creature much like the goblin, only larger, more muscular. This orange, rust-furred creature is an orc. It sort of sees you coming out, throws down the crossbow it was holding. It has an axe in its hand, but you do see it sort of look to the left, seeming to want to try and make its way into the building. It's probably about 20 yards away from you. Likely will make its way into the building to your left if you don't try and all run it at once. You see Isella looking ready, but then you do see her look a little worried behind you and say, Ylwa, we need to be careful if they have crossbows up there! And she points behind you. You can now see that from this angle, inside, the keep itself has several floors. And the first floor, which has no entrance, because you have to get up to it via stair, you imagine, from inside, leads to a second floor. The second floor has slits. Someone could easily be watching you right now, ready to fire. What do you do?
So, Is there an entrance up there as well, or there's no visible sort of tower that they're standing on, but more like actual just arrow slits, archer?
So it's sort of like, if you imagine right to your left now, wall. Wall keeps going up, then you see these slits, and then you see the rest of the tower keep going. Looking to the left, you can see what looks like more building, but there's lots of holes, the roof's fallen in. That must be some sort of living quarters, and you imagine if there were stairs leading to there, they'd be in there. That, you think, is where this orc is about to try running into.
I rush after the orc.
Ylwa, you care not for waiting and begin charging out towards this orc. But I will let you decide if you would stop when you hear someone say, "Halt! You have a crossbow on you! Stop! And you too, Tusk! Everyone calm down!"
And I suppose I could wait a little bit. And can I find any kind of cover close to where I am rushing now?
Well, you could, but you'll have to move. Maybe you'll be shot. You have run out to engage this orc. You are now in the open to do so. You've been told there's a crossbow on you. Your choice. Getting to cover will be very dangerous.
Well, I shall wait then.
I try to inch backwards slowly, so that I don't just make myself visible then.
Not too tricky. Their attention is now on Ylwa, who charged forward. His Ella sort of looks towards you, Irinja, and just sort of clutching her sword like, "Come, Rondra, be with us. Rondra, be with us." Ylwa, you stop. You see the orc before you growl with his weapon, like, "Nah!" And then you hear the voice again. "Tusk! No! Don't move!" The orc grunts a little, cracks his neck from side to side, and also doesn't move. For a moment there is nothing now but silence in this courtyard. No one's sure what exactly is going to happen next. But perhaps some communication can be had.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the adventure Justice and Noble Valor for the Dark Eye. This is a sponsored adventure by our friends at Ulysses International. The music was created by Egersonus and Lesa Listvi and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Visit cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more fantastic music for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, and Julia for their generous support. And we'd of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you for listening, and see you soon again.